through the bandsaw and kind of cut it down a little bit, and notice that this bark was a little loose, so I need to take that off before you start turning, because if you're spinning it up nice and fast and it decides to come off and hit you even with the mask on, you may soil your pants if you don't get hurt. So think about, when you start a piece, if it still has bark on it, test it and make sure that it's still attached, or get something and knock it off. And see, that knocked off real easy, and that would have hurt no matter where it hit. So
while you're there, when is the best season to cut a tree down so you can have a natural ledge bowl?
in the fall after the sap goes up. So if you want to keep a bark for a natural edge or whatever, or just an inclusion, you need to wait until the leaves fall off and the tree's dormant, and then you'll have better luck with that bark sticking. This tree was actually cut midsummer last year, so it was not going to stay on there. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to round this up and cut a tenon on it and stick it in a chuck. I actually brought a piece partially completed just in case this thing goes to hell in a handbasket. I can still show you how to do the powder. And that happens. Oh, pass this around. This is what I'm going to do. This is a piece of dogwood. If you're going to cut some dogwood, get ready. That stuff's hard as a rock, and it's not much fun to turn. It's a magnificent mallet head. Yes. It also does wonders for arthritis. Okay. Oh, if you're going to take something out of a chuck after you've had it in there and then going to come back and work on it again, I use one-way chucks, and the jaws are numbered 1 through 4 because there's 4 jaws on this chuck. And I always get a pencil and I'll mark between 1 and 2 jaws. That way I can put it right back where it was, or darn close. If I put it somewhere else, it's not going to be aligned as well. So since I need this chuck, I'm going to take this guy out of here. And I have tiny little sensitive hands, so I wear a glove. Michael Jackson taught me about that. So I like to start off dressing a piece with a half-inch bowl gouge. It works really well for me. You don't ever use a roughing gouge on something like this because it has a tang at the bottom instead of a solid piece. And if you get a good catch, you could break it off and get caught in the lathe and thrown around and jabbed into your belly, and you bleed all over the shop and ruin your piece of wood. So don't ever use a roughing gouge on a big piece. Do what?
I said that escalated quickly.
It can. We participate in a pretty dangerous sport, boys and girls. So you ought to be cautious. Okay, let's see what we got here.
Would you zoom in on your grind? It looks a little unique.
It's 40 degree, but I use a long sweep on it. I use a Wolverine, one-way Wolverine jig, and I've got my leg on the bottom that goes in the trough way back. That gives me a real long sweep, which gives me a little bit of a scraper, as well as I can, if I'm in softwood, I can take a really wide ribbon off.
40 degrees.
Say again?
You said 40 degrees?
Yeah, that's 40 right there. It's supposed to be. And then I bevel off at least half of that, round it off so I don't have that much dragging on the piece. This stuff's good and dry, so it's not going to ribbon at all. It's also going to be pretty stable once I get it finished. I'm going to do this kind of backwards. Normally I'd put my tenon on this side, but I wasn't thinking about what I was doing because I'm under so damn much pressure. So I think I'll just flip the whole thing real quick because I need my fat end for my tenon. That makes sense? And at this point in the game, you can still do that. I haven't really committed myself too severely.
Is there a reason to not just cut the tenon on the other end?
I just don't like to do it that way. It's kind of like right-handed, left-handed. I mean, you could do it.
If there was, I wanted to know what.
No, I just like cutting tenons on the right end.
Okay.
Okay, I'd use calipers and just kind of get close on how wide I want my tenon. Kind of gives me a spot to shoot for when I'm cutting it. See, I got plenty of room. I like to use a badan to cut my tenons. Some people don't like them. They can catch really badly, but it's just a badan, and that's what I use it for. Makes a really nice square cut against your tenon. But you got to be careful not to feed it too fast, because if you do, it'll catch and booger your tenon up. Okay, that'll work. Now, as far as depth goes, you can do it any way you want. I've learned that the depth of my jaws are the width of my badan plus about 3/16. So I can eyeball that in real quick and get a tenon that's not too long. Because if the tenon does not, your tenon goes to the bottom of your jaws and doesn't, and your jaw faces can't rest flat on your piece, you don't have a good bite. The strength of your tenon is in the ability to grab it like this, but it's also in the ability to press that piece tight against the jaws. That way you've got surface contact all the way around rather than just this way. You've also got it this way. Oops. We got a knocker over there in the box. I didn't bring one. Kind of hard to pull those chucks out by hand. I'm not that strong. After 3 days camping, I'm that strong, but it's mainly smell. Okay, what was I gonna do? Yeah. My wife won't go camping with me. She won't go camp with anybody. Thought I brought the wrong chuck key. That wouldn't be very good. Now when I always use my hand and I try to press flat and make sure I got a good contact all the way around. Then I stop and look, just kind of eyeball down there and make sure all 4 of those jaws are pressing tight against the piece, and they are, so now I can lean on it.
You tighten all 6 of those forks, right?
Yeah,
Do you retighten it after you,
at least all 6. Sometimes I do 8.
Yeah.
do you retighten it after you spin it the first time? I found, I have a similar chuck and I spin it up and then I turn the
Yeah,
spin off
yeah.
and retighten it because.
Go back and tighten it again.
Because I find sometimes you spin it.
It's kind of like measuring before you cut. You can't do it too much. Look at this. I'm checking for cracks in this piece, make sure I got a good solid chunk in here, because I know I had a crack down here that was little. Wouldn't impact the bite, but it would have impacted the box. I'm going to take some of this off. Good idea to keep your sides square. If you'll line your rest up with the waves below, just kind of look right down here, eyeball your rest and make sure it's parallel with your waves. That way you've got a rest that's parallel to your piece. And if you rest your finger on here and work across, you can pretty much maintain that 90-degree angle between the axis of the piece and what you want, because you don't want a side of something going like this or have a bulge in it or whatever. I just kind of domed it off a little bit because that's the basic shape I want my top to be. So it's just got a little bit of a radius on the outside and then flat across the top. I didn't really dress out the center real nice because I'm going to cut all that out anyway for my inlay. So next piece here is to form, get the tenon right on the lid and then cut the lid off in a hollow. So I start off with the bedan. Because I like the bedan. You could do the same thing with the parting tool. Or you could do it with a bowl gouge, a small bowl gouge. But anyway, that's what I like. I come down what I think is enough, the height I want my lid, and just and I want that cut to be dead square to start off with, and then I might modify the top a little bit, and I might modify the bottom a little bit just so I get a really tight, clean fit when that lid goes on. I didn't get that on that box I passed around. It's kind of sloppy. But I was feeling sloppy that day. And I've got probably 3/16 deep, and that's deep enough for me. Next thing is to part it off. And I'm probably going to need a little bit more, so I'll start my part back a little bit. Get those other four. I don't think anybody out there wants to play catch, right? It's a damn ornery. Yeah, fire by friction, just like the Scouts. I'm gonna have to take out some more wood. Parting tool scares me about as much as anything. I was doing this one time and it caught and pulled my hand back like that and just tore the hell out of the top of my little finger, and it hurt. So when you're fiddling with a parting tool, make sure you got a good grip on it. Come on, baby, cut. That was no fun. This makes a really nice parting tool. It's a Sawzall blade. It's a Sawzall blade. You put it on your grinder, grind off the teeth, polish it up, put it what kind of point you want it. It's super thin, and it's pretty strong material, and it works great. These commercially produced parting tools, in my opinion, suck. What?
Turn the blade down.
Sure, just push the red button, it goes right off. Okay.
Now, say everything over again. Now we can hear
I'm
you.
not the only one who gets smoke when they try to park something off. I thought I was doing
I
something.
don't know, I was gonna have to get a fire extinguisher.
No, I don't know. Maybe that's something I never asked for instruction on parting tools, and I never got any, and that was pretty damn obvious. Because I mean, I sharpened that sucker before I came over here, and it just would not cut through that wood.
I sharpened mine and I
Yeah,
burn it all the time. I don't know why.
but
It's because the burr is on the
Sawzall
opposite
works
side of the
great.
cutting edge.
I'm sorry, what?
The burr is on the opposite side of the cutting edge. When you sharpen a parting tool, if you sharpen this side and then spin it, you've just removed the edge that you created. So I have my parting tools labeled 1 and 2. So if I sharpen one side, that's the side that I cut because that's where the burr is. And then the next time I sharpen it, I flip it to 2, sharpen that side.
Okay, I sharpened both.
But if you sharpen both sides and then you dig in with the side that you just sharpened and then flip it, you're burning it instead of cutting it. So,
thank you.
Thank you. So basically just sharpen one side, leave that
Yes.
side.
and then flip it the next time so that you're not sharpening one side too much.
Thank you.
Yes, it does.
All right, normally I bring a pair of calipers, or I use a pair of calipers to get the lid right, and I just realized I did not bring my calipers, vernier calipers. They've got little points on them, and it really does a nice job for marking a lid. This is not the best way to do it, and I'll do the best I can with it. But we may have a real sloppy lid here. This is just a piece of round stock with about a 35-degree angle on either side and an angle. It's just really great for cutting a hard edge. So I'm going to come in on my mark a little less than. Start to cut. Yay, it's not big enough. Yay, it's not big enough. Used to be, there's a guy named Ben Rogers Lee, big turkey hunter, and he made some audio tapes about turkey hunting. The guy as country can be, and he was talking about how great a turkey could see. He said, Turkey got great eye vision. So you gotta have good eye vision. That may be too big. Dang close. Now I'm gonna come in like this on my edge. Here's my edge. I'm gonna come in like this on it. Take just a hair off. A little more. Thing is, if you take too much, you're screwed up. You don't take enough, you stand here all day long not taking enough. I know y'all think this is real exciting.
Jeff, is that a 1/4-inch skew you're using?
It's round, yeah.
A round skew, round 1/4-inch skew?
Yeah, it's probably 3/8.
Okay.
What's his name? St. Orange? Is that his name? The guy from Virginia? Ledger, yeah. I saw him using these and I thought that's pretty slick. Thanks. I'm not good with names. Your name's Toby, right? No, I know who you are. I always remember Lance's name because he was always so nice to me. I don't know why. I said, I always remember your name because you've always been nice. Dang. That sucker. Do what? That could change. Yeah, too late now. I know your name. There you go. I like that. Sorta. Still mighty damn tight. Take a look. This is going to be a shallow box because y'all don't want to sit here and watch me grind out the bottom of the box. This bowl gouge has got a much sharper angle on it. It's like a 50, 60 degree. I don't remember what it is, but anyway, it's less so you can work a bottom. You got the bevel is narrow so you can work it sideways with it a lot easier than you can the 40 degree. I'm thinking it's 60 degree. Okay, that's good enough. You got the gist of that, right? All right, now we've got to clean up this a little bit.
Leave it a little tight and then sand that last little bit, or do you ever sand the inside rim?
The inside, yeah. I can sand it. This is called a rubber chucky.
Yeah,
Everybody should have at least one.
I don't have any yet.
You need to get one. That's not going to work. What are you doing, dipstick? I use it on the other side. I wanted to clean that up. I don't know what I'll do.
So being a wood turner is 90% problem solving,
That's it.
That's lots of toys.
and, yeah, lots of toys.
Lots of toys.
Yeah. Got some tools in my car, what you need?
There you are, hiding down in there like a little mouse. What was that? Clean that up a little bit. You can do a much nicer job if you're not in a hurry. Okay, now we've got to get something round. Piece of burl. Drive center, show me your face. Sneaky little guy. I like that better. I'll figure out what I was doing. I just kind of eyeball the size of the piece I wanted, set the calipers there, and then I'll trim this down to that basic diameter. It doesn't really matter that much unless I'm trying to make two alike. We all know that's impossible. A little bit more. A lot more. Nah. That's perfect. Now we put this in there. Makes my nose itch. Gonna be hell getting it out. Hey, Steve. That's gonna be hell getting out. I gotta open that up a little bit. Sorry, guys. We go to repeat mode. That's better. Just excavate a little bit to get that plug in there. Sometimes you end up with a lid that's a little loose. You get a piece of tissue or toilet paper works really well and lay it over the hole and then stick it in there. That snugs it up. Say again? Dental floss, yeah. Don't you do that. I told you not to do that. It's nice to have a flat bottom, makes it stick a lot better when you got a solid glue surface. As far as how it looks when you get finished doesn't really matter because there's going to be a lot of waste on top. It all gets trimmed off, but you'd like to have a pretty stable base for that piece to sit on so it glues down good and tight. Okay. Now I can glue this in here and we can wait for the glue to dry, or I can take the one I've already prepared and show you how to put the ring in there. But this is nothing more than gluing it up. I mean, you can use CA glue, but I always like to use wood glue. I just feel better with it. And get a really tight seal, let it sit overnight, and then come back and dress out your top. But since we've...
Are you trying to get a tight fit on that piece, or
Say again?
are you trying to get a tight fit on that piece, or?
On this piece?
I'll leave a little.
It doesn't really matter. If you look at this one, it's pretty tight. But I'm going to cut a ring around it that's a little wider than the width of...
Glue it in and then you just smooth it out.
Yeah, just dress it with a gouge on the top or whatever you want to use to dress the top. And see, I've got a piece of toilet paper in this one because the lid's a little loose, and that makes it nice and snug. So. And I'm lining it back up with those pencil marks I'd put on there before I took it out of the chuck. So it might be really close to being dead on the money. It's off just a little bit, it doesn't matter, because we can redo the edge of the whole box pretty quickly with a sharp gouge, and it'll all be ready, set, go.
Where all these glue, is it just around the rim of that?
No, I globbed a bunch of glue down on the bottom, just and then all the way around the edge, and then stuck it in there.
But it don't hydraulically push it out or anything?
Hadn't had a problem with it. I mean, I stick it in there and kind of friction so it doesn't move. You know, you get two pieces with wood glue and put them together with friction, they kind of lock. And that way I don't have any problem with it trying to back out. But it may back out today since you asked the question.
Can't back out if you got it in a Bessie.
Say again?
Can't back out if you got it in a Bessie.
There you go. So, what I will do, where did I put my, got too dang many tools out. Go thee to a nunnery. It's almost dead on the money. So I'm just going to go to that interface between the two colors and get my homemade parting gouge and open me a little groove in there. It doesn't have to be real deep. You don't want it real deep because it'll eat up all your powder if you do go super deep. And make sure I got everything covered. And I do. toilet paper. Just in case I needed. Magic dust. This is just some brass powder. You can get it from Kraft, or Police Board may have it. Somebody else may have it, but it's just a inlay powder. And I got this dandy little spatula I brought. And it's gotten buried down in all this stuff. This will work just as well, I guess. And just let it drift down into that groove I cut. Fill it up real good. I use thin CA. I'm much better at this in my own shop. And don't worry too much about getting glue on everything you don't want, because we're going to cut a little bit of this top off once we get happy with it. Usually takes a couple of times to get it just right. That must be what I dropped.
You got a little hole here where you're missing something.
Say again?
You got a hole where you're
Yeah, I do. I've got another trip across there anyway. I'm just getting the bulk of this out of the way, because I'm going to have to touch up more than just that one spot. Even though I put accelerator on there, I'm still going to put my shield down, because sometimes it doesn't lock it all up, and you get that stuff on your glasses, it doesn't come off. Whoa! This ain't drunk. Who put whiskey on this lane? That's more better. Helps a lot if you put your rest down a little lower. You don't have to stand on your head to get to the middle. That turned out pretty good. One more trip across the field and we'll have it. Say again? Well, this is easier. Hell, Jerry, it's more dramatic this way. You gotta have a little drama. That's right. Damn wise guy in every group. And I don't remember what I paid for this stuff, but it's not terribly expensive.
You could use anything, you could use.
Oh yeah, you use, who was it, who was the guy with the handlebar mustache? Used to be in the club? Earl Kennedy. He used coffee grounds. Of course, Earl's the kind of guy that would have used earthworms if he would have thought of it. I mean, he did some of the craziest off-the-wall things. And his work was beautiful.
Wonderful. Texture, well, you know, of course, the same as the food, but it just, the colors pop on one. Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, yeah, just like he's done. I almost coffee grounds was it.
You can use significant stuff in there as well. I have a pen that a guy made, it's got little bands of sand around it from a piece of Iwo Jima.
Oh, really? It works pretty good.
What was that? What grade did you start with?
100 probably, maybe 120, and then I went to 220, and I went to 3-something, 320, 340. I mean, yeah, the finer you get up to 600 grit, that stuff will shine. It'll hurt your eyes to look at it.
That's what I usually go up to 600.
How do you part that out?
How? Take it home and cut off a bandsaw.
Use a hatchet?
The hatchet works good. I got a really nice fro. Fro will work. Sometimes it splits the whole bug. Y'all got any questions? Yes, sir.
With anything like brass, bronze, there's some risk, I suspect, of it starting to corrode, turning green. Now, will the CA create enough of a seal to prevent that from happening?
Never had it fall out. Never had it change. Now I
I'm
put.
not talking about falling out. I'm just talking about if any of the raw metal is exposed, it will oxidize. That's so.
Well, I've never had it happen on any of the steel. I hadn't done that much of it though.
Okay.
And usually I'll put a finish on.
Yeah,
Finish
okay,
it.
so you
Yeah.
put a lacquer or something.
Yeah. I use a polyurethane tung oil mineral spirits equal mix.
Uh-huh.
That's what I use. That's just typical Turner's mix, and that puts enough of a seal on top where I've never had any corrosion issues. But yeah, I guess if it wasn't covered
No, I'm just
up,
curious if
it
that
would.
ever happened.
But you can get that stuff in crushed anything.
Opal.
Yeah, when I first started turning, I thought that'd be a neat idea to do something like that, and I went down to Lowe's and asked them if I could have the trimmings off the keys when they cut keys.
Yeah.
And I did some of that right at first. Then I was looking through a craft supply one day. I said, "Holy cow! Somebody actually makes this stuff." So, and that's and that stuff's so finely ground that you get a real consistent, real homogeneous color without the gaps in it. Because the keys are bigger pieces, and you leave some gaps. It doesn't fill all the way, but that stuff feels pretty good. So. Say again?
Heterogeneous.
I'm sorry.
Heterogeneous.
Heterogeneous, yes. Very good. Did a little biology in your time, didn't you?
Mining.
Mining, that's the same thing. Dirt makes things live. Okay,
Thank you very much.
that's what we did. Glad to do it. Yes. If you spend more time with it, it comes out much nicer. But I was really concerned about going over. Thank you, sir. Well, didn't have too many screw ups.